Well, welcome to Christ and Culture. This is Pastor Jeff Short. Glad to have you along for the discussion today, where we analyze a topic in our culture from a Christian perspective. We try to apply the Bible, we try to apply the Christian faith consistently to the issues in society. Why do we do that? Why don't we just concern ourselves with our own personal faith, development, betterment, our families, our marriages? Why don't we just confine ourselves to a very narrow, limited scope of items and then talk about those? Because we live and breathe and move in a culture, and we are affected by the influences that are out there in the culture. We're affected by the news, we're affected by the government, we're affected by the community standards that are changing and shifting. And so we have to have answers to questions that the world asks of us. And one of the things that is being debated right now in our society is the whole issue of immorality versus morality, gender, sexuality. There's all this confusion, massive confusion in our schools, our colleges. And today we're going to be talking about a Christian college, a supposedly Christian college, Seattle Pacific University. And they're supposed to be a Christian college, and lo and behold, they are actually protesting the Board of Governors at their college from rejecting a member of the LGBTQ community who wants to be a faculty member full-time and wants to still be openly, actively homosexual and actually married, quote, married, which many Christians call mirage. It's an illusion, delusion. And the students and the faculty are actually supporting this LGBTQ job applicant who wants to be full-time on the Christian university faculty and wants the university to change their moral standards to fit in his lifestyle. So we're going to look at that story. It's incredible about what is happening today in the world today, especially in Christianity, because this is becoming something that every church, every Christian college, every institution in Christianity is going to have to deal with. And so let's go to an article in the Seattle Times, I believe it was, that talks about this whole issue, and they're reporting on it, of course, from a secular standpoint, but they're going to be trying to add something to the conversation. But really what they're basically doing is basically promoting what we already know and we already hear on the news every day, and that is the immoral revolution taking place. It says Seattle Pacific University students and the faculty protest anti-LGBTQ hiring policies. So the students of this university, the students, the Christian, supposedly Christian students, and the faculty, the supposedly Christian faculty, are protesting the policy of their own college and university in not hiring people who disagree or are in contradiction with the moral statement of faith at the college and university. It's really incredible. Students held a vigil while faculty considered a vote of no confidence after the Board of Trustees affirmed an employment policy against LGBTQ relationships. So the Board of Trustees basically said the Christian moral standard stands. We're not going to change it because of the current cultural condition. We're going to remain a Christian university, Christian college. We're not going to change it. We're not going to hire an openly member of the LGBTQ community who is supposedly married to his partner. We're not going to hire him because that would be in a violation of our community moral standards. And you would think that the students who go to this, quote, Christian university and the faculty members who are teaching at this, quote, Christian university, you would think that that would be fine, no problems. That's why we came here as students. That's why we came here as faculty members. We wanted to teach at a distinctively Christian college and university. We didn't want to go to a secular state university. We didn't want to go to a secular private college university because you can find those all over the place. They're a dime a dozen. You would think that the students and you would think that the faculty would be totally affirming the Board of Trustees' affirmation of the Christian moral standard for hiring and for admission and for teaching. You would think that that would be fine, no problem, it's smooth sailing, and there would be unity on this. But of course, there is not unity. Why isn't there? Because you have faculty and students who are actually siding with the immoral pagan secularists on this. So let's listen to a news clip, and I'll give some commentary on this. But this is unbelievable that you have an evangelical Christian college, not just a general Christian college, but an evangelical Christian college, and they can't even get together on what they believe is moral and immoral. This is really getting bad, and we are going to see more and more of this. I talked about, for example, on past broadcasts, I've talked about the problem at Wheaton College, where they're beginning to buy into the critical race theory, basically a Marxist-inspired way of looking at society where you pair one class against another class, one race against another class. You have a clash of interests, and you just amplify and increase that tension to the point of revolution, and you overthrow the existing structures of society. We're seeing that coming into Wheaton College. The emphasis on diversity and inclusion. They just recently took down a plaque of missionary Wheaton College grad Jim Elliot, who was killed by the Auca Indians in the 1940s, I believe it was, the late 1940s. And on the plaque, it said that he was killed by savage tribesmen attempting to preach the gospel. And the objection to that plaque was the word savage. And so Wheaton College, the president, the whole administrative board, and all of the important VIPs at the college took down that plaque and said, we're going to have to reword this because it's so offensive to our students. This is where we've gotten to, people, where you have the world setting the agenda for Christian colleges. Here it is again, Seattle Pacific University. They are now going secular. They're bowing to the secular woke, PC, politically correct culture. And this is one example. So let's roll this video clip by News 5, King 5 in Seattle. I've been to Seattle many times. I've gone up there for seminary classes, not at Seattle Pacific University, but a Fuller Seminary branch up there. I love the city. It's set on water. There's water everywhere, ports, bays, lakes, the Pacific Ocean. You just have so much water, boating, and it's a beautiful area that you can see the mountains in the background. But unfortunately, it is one of the most liberal, secular, atheistic, humanistic, man-centered places in the United States. And this Christian college is right in the middle of this secular, humanistic headquarters. And they're caving in, it looks like. They're caving to the demands of the cancel mob. And they're unfortunately compromising the Christian faith in the process. So let's review this video, and let me make some commentaries along the way.
Some students and faculty at Seattle Pacific University are upset over a Board of Trustees decision. It's a story King 5 has been tracking since January, when an adjunct professor claimed he couldn't be hired full-time because he's gay. King 5's Christine Pei spoke with students tonight about their concerns.
So there was an adjunct professor who was evidently teaching part-time at this Christian university. That's the first problem. They never should have allowed someone who totally disagrees and totally contradicts the Christian moral standards. They shouldn't have allowed him to teach at all, part-time, full-time, adjunct. He shouldn't have been on campus influencing Christian students at all. That was the first mistake of the university. They probably did that as a way of trying to show the world that they're not bigoted, they're not homophobic, they're hip, they're cool, they're with it. And what this causes now is an inconsistency, because now he's wanting to be full-time at a Christian college, and he's wanting the Christian college to change its moral standards to accommodate his secular, immoral, perverted lifestyle. And the college, the trustees at least, said no, but that has caused a problem on campus. Let's go on.
The reaction from students and faculty very strong tonight. In fact, students just wrapped up a vigil here at the SPU campus to continue hoping for some change out of all of this.
So there's a protest of Christian students. Now, again, I have to ask the question, you're at an evangelical Christian college. Why did you go there in the first place? Did you go there to pay extra money? And these places are very expensive. I know when I went to Wheaton College, it was a lot more money to go to Wheaton College, a private Christian evangelical college, than it would be to go to a state or university paid by taxpayer funds. So you have to pay a premium to go there. And why do you go there? You go there to get a distinctively Christian education. You want to get a Christian worldview. You want to learn how to think consistently as a Christian. You don't want to have a mix of secularism, humanism, atheism, immoralism, liberalism. You don't want the educational process politicized. You want to go to a distinctively Christian college. And if you're teaching there, why would you teach at a Christian college? Because they don't pay as much money as the secular state and universities and private colleges. They don't allow as much academic freedom. And there are all these other reasons. Why would you then go there and now try to change the very thing that brought you there, which is a Christian, distinctively evangelical education? It makes no sense. And these students and faculty are protesting their own leaders and saying, no, we want you to compromise with the world. We want you to cave in to the LGBTQ lobby. We want you to lower the moral standards of this institution. We want you to basically gut the foundation and the doctrines and the morality of this college. We want you to water down everything. In other words, we want to, they're saying, they don't really know that they're saying this, but they're saying, we want you to basically go the way of Harvard and Yale and Princeton, once Christian, solidly Christian colleges and university on the East Coast. Now they're secular humanist headquarters. We want to undermine our own college. That's what they're saying. It's insanity.
The faculty, meanwhile, weighing in on a possible vote of no confidence against the Board of Trustees, which so far is not budging.
The faculty now are getting together, organizing, and saying, we're going to vote no confidence in our leadership here at this college, because the leadership won't cave in to the LGBTQ lobby and the pressure groups and the activists. They won't cave in and allow this openly gay and his so-called married partner to work here at the Christian college. And that's the faculty. That's the faculty. People never send your students, your children to this college. I don't care if they give you a free ride scholarship. Don't send your student here. You can see the kind of poison and the kind of garbage that's being put upon students. Now, a lot of the students, most students, when they come to college, they don't have their ideas formed in their minds. They maybe have a little bit of influence in their high school. They have influence in their church. Their family, of course, offers quite a bit of influence on their thinking. But when they go to a Christian college, you expect Christian teaching. You expect Christian doctrine. You expect Christian morality. You don't expect your student to be basically secularized and fed this progressive, liberal, democratic talking points about sexuality and gender. This school also has, we read elsewhere, they also have a LGBTQ support group. What is that group doing on campus? Why is that a group allowed on campus? This is a Christian college. Are they going to have a pedophile support group on campus? Are they going to allow a bestiality group on campus? Students who are attracted to animals for sex? What, are you going to go through the whole list in the Old Testament of abominations and then have a support group for that? It makes no sense. And yet, this is a reality here in the 21st century, and we better be ready for it because it's coming down the highway and it's coming toward us. And we're going to see Christian colleges cave in like that all over the place. And we just need to pray. Let's go on.
A vigil to speak against discrimination.
I'm embarrassed to say that I go to school here when I hear the way that this school treats the LGBT community.
She and fellow
Why are you embarrassed to go to a Christian college that you signed up knowing that it's a Christian college? That's like a student in the Soviet Union during the time of communism going into a communist-controlled university as a Christian and saying, I'm embarrassed that this college is teaching Karl Marx. Well, what do you expect that college in Soviet-controlled Russia to teach? It says right on the banner, we teach communism. And so you go there and then you're shocked and you're embarrassed that they teach communism. It's the same way with Christianity. Why would you take the time to apply and go and pay for? And that's one of the keys. That's one of the keys. A lot of these students are not paying for this. They aren't sacrificing to go here. They aren't bleeding to go to this Christian college. Why? Because they've either been given a scholarship, they've been given some special opening by the college itself. There's been this pressure brought on all Christian colleges to be more diverse and to be more inclusive. And so colleges have been beating the bushes to try to find minority students and people of color and women and gay and transgender and whatever to come to their college so they can say, see, we're diverse, we're an inclusive community. And so some of these students, actually many of these students, they aren't even paying a dime of their own personal money. They are there basically as an effort to try to bring diversity and multiculturalism to the campus. I don't know what this young woman's specifics are, but it sounds like she didn't have to pay, or she's not having to pay, or she hasn't paid yet. Again, we're talking about students in a generation that are getting government guaranteed student loans, and they're taking out hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes. Oftentimes, I think the average student guaranteed loan now is close to $50,000, but some of them are over $100,000. So yeah, she hasn't paid a dime into her education, and she's probably counting on liberal Democrats like Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren and Ocasio-Cortez. By the time they get to the place where they need to pay this back, they're counting on these liberal leftists to try to eliminate all student loans. So they're pretty much free riders here. They don't have any what they call skin in the game. And so now they're wanting to say things like, I'm ashamed of my Christian college that they're not more opening to LGBTQ people, which is a total inconsistency. In other words, if that's the kind of atmosphere you want, where you want all kinds of immoral sex happening, heretical doctrines floating around taught in the school, go someplace else. Don't come to a Christian college and then demand that it change.
Seattle Pacific University students are standing beside J.O. Reindahl, a former adjunct nursing.
So here is the person filing the lawsuit. He was part-time, as we said before. He's an LGBTQ member. Here's his so-called partner. I guess they're legally married, thanks to Joe Biden and Obama and the Supreme Court in 2015, legalization of same-sex marriage. This is an abomination. The students should see that. The faculty should see that. They should tell these people, look, nothing personal, but you can't teach here. You're not Christian in your values. You need to be Christian, not just in word, but in deed. You can't just sign a statement of faith that says, yes, you uphold Christian values, and then go promptly violate it. And so nothing personal. We love you, but you can't teach here as faculty members, because people who come here want to learn a Christian education. They don't want to learn what they can learn anywhere else in society. This is a unique educational opportunity for our students. We don't want them influenced by people who do not hold to the Christian values. It's very simple. But the faculty and the students, especially the faculty, this really bothers me. The faculty, these are supposed to be the adults in the room. They are totally neglecting their roles as Christian leaders and influencers, and they are leading students astray. I think it's the faculty. Put your finger on the faculty and say, you guys are the ones that are actually the problem here. The students, I believe, would follow along if most of these faculty members would become courageous Christians and stand up for what is true.
Instructor who claims he was denied a full-time job at SPU.
Here's a student. Again, this is the one who was interviewed. A student on a Christian, evangelical Christian campus. She has the LGBT gay rights flag. What is the problem here? What's wrong with this picture? This is wrong with this picture. This is not a Christian who has this in her hand, because she is basically saying Christian morality doesn't have any place in my heart, because I'm willing to compromise everything about my Christian moral understanding just to let a couple people work here. This person should not even be a student, to be quite frankly. She shouldn't have been admitted to the campus. And this is one of the problems that Christian colleges are going to have to face. The Seattle Pacific University has a policy of not discriminating or not stopping non-Christians from coming on campus and becoming students. You see the problem there? If you're not a Christian and you have enough of these non-Christian students, they can sway the entire college. I doubt rather that this student is actually even a Christian.
A private Christian college because he is gay. Reindahl filed a discrimination lawsuit against the school in January.
They don't have the right to judge me, number one, because my employer has no business in my bedroom.
They have the right to judge you if you are applying for a distinctively evangelical Christian college. And if the evangelical Christian college has very distinct doctrinal requirements, moral requirements, lifestyle requirements for employment, and you apply, you understand very clearly what is being asked of you. And you do not have the right to come into a distinctively evangelical Christian institution and demand that they accommodate you in your perverted, deviant, immoral lifestyle. And you do not have the right to try to change their convictions just for your lifestyle needs. No, this is totally, anybody who is an adult and anybody who has a brain can see he is going to lose his lawsuit. Christian churches, Christian institutions, Christian ministries have a right to maintain their doctrine and moral standards and No one coming in from the outside has the right to come in and say, no, you must accommodate me. And if the government ever starts forcing Christian churches and institutions to accommodate beliefs and moral values they do not hold to and are not consistent with Christianity, then we are in a dark, dark day in this country.
Students and faculty have asked the Board of Trustees to change its language on the university's stance on sexuality. On Monday, the Board of Trustees declined to change SPU's employment policy, which is that marriage is between a man and a woman.
And I have to say, thank God for those trustees. I don't know who they are. We don't know their names, but they took a moral stand, and I am behind them. Pray for them.
And the decision is not sitting well with students.
I was angry.
A vigil aims to keep pushing SPU to change its policies on sexuality.
I don't enjoy being a student at a university that upholds homophobic values.
Well, then leave the college that you're not comfortable with and that you don't enjoy being a student at, and go to some place where you can be happy with immorality and sexual perversion. Go there. Don't come to a Christian college and then say, you guys change because I don't like what you're doing. No, you change. You repent. You become consistently Christian at the Christian college.
Statement, the SPU Board of Trustees chair said in part, the board recognizes that fellow Christians and other community members disagree in good faith on issues relating to human sexuality.
Okay, this is one part where I do not agree with the Board of Trustees. The board recognizes that fellow Christians and other community members disagree in good faith on issues relating. No, they do not disagree in good faith on issues relating to homosexuality and gay marriage. If you are a Christian, you do not allow for so-called gay marriage. You do not allow for homosexuality as a lifestyle choice. You do not allow for that. There is not disagreeing in good faith on these. See, this Board of Trustees has within its own statement the seeds of its own destruction. I predict that eventually the Board of Trustees will come around and cave in and compromise, and this person actually will be allowed to teach. And this university will no longer become and maintain its evangelical Christian status, because that is the whole trajectory that we see in this statement.
And that these convictions are deeply and sincerely held. We pray that as we live within the tensions of this issue, we can be in dialogue with the SPU community. Reindahl, who is Christian, has left SPU and now works at Tacoma Community College. He appreciates the support, but knows more could be done.
If you want to be a Christian, not pick and choose what pieces you want and then become exclusive.
If you want to be a Christian, be consistently Christian, and don't pick and choose what things you don't accept in Christianity. If you want to teach at a Christian university, become thoroughly a Christian and stop fighting against it. And I think he made the right choice. He moved on. He went to a secular university, and that's where he needs to be, and that's where these students need to be, and that's where these faculty need to be.
Students who are in touch with faculty tell me that this potential vote of no confidence will be considered through the weekend. It is a symbolic gesture, but something staff hopes will be a strong message. In Seattle, I'm Christine Pei, King 5 News.
Okay, so that is that, and we've seen more of that happen. We see that Christian colleges have been caving in, and we see Christian colleges do that. And so we need to pray for our colleges and universities that name the name of Christ. We need to pray for the administration. We need to pray for the faculty, and we need to pray for the students and pray to God to bring a revival, because that's what we need. We'll see you back next week on another edition of Christ in Culture. God bless.